Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to You Can Talk. This morning, we are continuing on in our series of talking about different controversial topics to help you all get more comfortable in your relationships, talking about these things that can sometimes be very difficult to talk about. So, this morning, because I know that there are millions, our subject is pornography, as you can see, and this topic is pretty controversial because I know there are millions and millions of people out there in the world that see absolutely nothing wrong with pornography, and maybe even have somehow managed to, incorporate it into their relationship, or maybe have made it a regular part of their sex life, and they don't feel like it's affecting them or their relationship in any way. If that is the case for you, then this may not be the video for you. Good morning, Levi. How are you? Good to see you. Hold on, let me get my thing here. All right, get that going. However, there are a vast majority of people out there in the world who are working to build long-term, lasting relationships, and pornography is a problem for them. It is something that has gotten into their relationships or in, their spouse or their mate, whoever they're with, and it is a problem and something that maybe they are needing to work on, or something they want to work on, and they just haven't managed to even just talk about it or figure out what to do or how to start, dealing with it. Studies have shown that pornography is a highly addictive practice, and it does have an increasing negative effect on long-term romantic relationships. So pornography is a problem for men and for women alike. It is not isolated to one, sex or another. Men and women alike struggle with pornography. And when it's consumed, forgive me, my sinuses are draining this morning, so I will try to not have to clear my throat a million times. But anyway, when it's consumed on a regular basis, people do report to have long-term negative effects of it. So it affects you, psychologically, mentally, emotionally. It can cause depression. It can cause anxiety when you are, around other people, men or women. It can cause even physiological effects. So having that buildup of anxiety, it can also cause you to have problems performing in the bed. Also, if you consume it on a regular basis, it can cause higher levels of stress and depression, all that stuff. So pornography really does, can take a toll on the human body, mentally, physically, emotionally, all of it, and also have a real effect on your relationship. It can also desensitize you. If you consume pornography on a regular basis, you find yourself maybe having to consume it more and more to become more sexually satisfied. Also, it can desensitize your ability to receive satisfaction from your mate. You will, begin looking for other ways to fulfill those sexual desires and those sexual needs, because you'll find that maybe your mate is not, being able to fulfill that for you. And you may begin looking for things outside of your relationship, outside of your marriage, and doing things and allowing yourself to take more risk when you are consuming this stuff on a regular basis. Now, I'm fully aware that there are people out there who are having sex outside of marriage, inside and outside of marriage. And whether you're married or not, pornography can still, take a toll on your relationship. It can affect the intimacy that you all have in your relationship. So therefore, if you feel like pornography is affecting your relationship and you haven't found a way to talk about it with your mate, without it becoming like a full-blown fight, right? Maybe you all have tried to talk about it and it just turns into a big issue. You start fighting about it and all that. Well, that's why we're talking about this morning, so that we can develop some ways, and I can hopefully give you all some different approaches to take to, talk about this sensitive topic sometimes. Okay. Now, you all know that I only bring issues to this platform that I have some level of direct experience with. So this topic is not one that I am unfamiliar with or that is foreign to me. I certainly have, seen and allowed myself to take in pornography at different ages of my life. And truly, fairly quickly, I realized that it was something that I was going to, have to, keep out of my life if I wanted to try make sure that I had healthy relationships and keep a healthy outlook on sex. So, I really had to make sure that I kept my ear gates and my eye gates closed to anything that would, remind me or, trigger anything of, wanting to watch things of that nature. So, because I realized, definitely how highly addictive it is, but also how highly degrading it is. It's a very degrading, thing to be watching if you've ever seen it before. Pornography is an all-consuming spirit. And if you're not careful, if you're not intentional about what you allow yourself to take in and consume, it will easily take over your mind, take over your body, take over, the things that your behaviors, your character, what you, would and wouldn't be willing to do. And it can, rip apart your families. It can rip apart your relationships, your marriages, all of it. So, it's not something to be taken lightly. And it is, it is a spirit that can be all consuming, like I said. So, but the worst thing that, pornography does is that it really takes away the beauty of God's original design for, intimacy and sex within marriage. And it takes that away, that ability for us to enjoy and our lifelong mates. So you have to, like I said, we have to be intentional about what we allow ourselves to be exposed to. If not, it will lock you in. It'll put a grasp on you. That can be extremely difficult to pull yourself away from. So pornography was also a huge factor, in the breakdown of one of my past long-term relationships. And, for the respect of that person's privacy, I won't reveal anything more about that. However, I will be sharing with you, a lot of my lessons learned over the years and some approaches that you all can take if this is something that you all would like to work on in your relationships. Okay. So we're going to be talking about this through the 4 talk principles: tame the tongue, approach with compassion, listen deeply, and knock down barriers. All right. So the first one, like I said, is tame the tongue. So often our initial approach to this conversation is hurt, anger, fear, and degradation, right? We're hurt often by what we've witnessed when we've seen someone who we love or care deeply about looking at pornography. We get hurt by it, right? Where we immediately feel like, oh, why are you doing this? What is how could you, right? You can easily take it personal, that it's something against you, something against your relationship, your marriage, whatever it is you're doing. So the first one is often hurt. And then, or we can be hurt that we're just finding out, right? Maybe it's something that has been going on for a long period of time and you did not necessarily know that it was going on. And so maybe you're finding out later, or you found out in a way that you wished you would not have found out. So that also brings on a level of hurt. And then we begin to have anger, right? We get mad about it. Like, how could you do this? You sort of feel violated, maybe in your relationship. You feel, frustration or, maybe felt like it was something they were keeping secret for a long period of time. And so all kinds of things can cause you to get angry. Then, the fear comes in. The fear comes in from, what does it mean? What does this mean? All the things that you can potentially be worried about, right? Good morning, East Dad. How are you? Good to see you this morning. Welcome, welcome. So we can be fearful and all the things that it could potentially mean, and then we can start degrading the person, right? So calling them every vile name that we can think of, questioning their character, and maybe even murdering their spirit, behind the anger. So taming the tongue is what we have to work on before we go off on a rampage. Take a moment to alter your approach. So the second one there is, approaching with compassion. When you experience something that is sort of traumatic, right, in any type of relationship, you want to start your approach by beginning to gather your thoughts. Okay, gather your thoughts about it before you start, maybe going off on a rampage. Think about what you've seen. Write down, if you have a moment, to sort of gather your thoughts and how it makes you feel. If it makes you self-conscious, if it makes you anxious, once you kind of get over the initial shock of it, take in, what it is that you're feeling so that you can gather your thoughts about it, so that when you have that conversation, it can be, more meaningful and more, can't think of more productive. Write down how you feel. Does it make you anxious? Right? Or does it cause depression with you? Are you angry? Are you disappointed? Are you upset? Are you feeling shame? Are you fearful of what this means? Fear can come into the picture because depending on the type of pornography that is being consumed, it can be all kinds of things, because people consume all kinds of pornography, and it is all kinds of vile stuff out there. And so it can really cause you to question, what does it mean that you watch this? Maybe they're watching some children or just same sex, or that you didn't know, or all kinds of stuff, right? And it can cause you to have a lot of fear. What does this mean for you? What does this mean for me? What does this mean for us? And make you feel like you never knew the person, right? And make you feel like very frustrated and angry and upset and emotional about it. Write down all those things of what you're feeling. Write down your worries and concerns, what you know about pornography, what you understand about pornography. Like I say, what worries you, what concerns you, all of it, and how you're concerned about the relationship, all of it. So share those things, begin to share those things. And so you may start by saying, I found this out, and I want to know if you're willing to talk to me about this. And if the person is not willing to talk to you about it, then just say, I want to talk about this, and whether you're willing to, talk about it or not, I need you to listen to me, because I need to get this stuff off my chest, right? So there you're talking about what it is that you need to say, how it's making you feel, and go over, all these feelings and emotions that you're going through. And if you're angry, tell them you're angry. If you're upset, let them know, I'm upset, I'm hurt, I'm disappointed, I'm frustrated, I'm confused, I don't understand about this, that, or the other, right? All these things. So share your thoughts. Maybe you'll say something like, it makes me think this, or when I see you watching this, or when I found out this was going on, it made me feel this, and it's causing me to think this. I'm hurt by it and upset by it, and I'm worried about this, or I'm concerned about this, right? All these things that you can let the person know, because you do need to talk about it. You do need to get things off your chest, but make sure that you've gathered your thoughts about it and give people a full understanding, give your mate a full understanding of what it is that you're feeling, rather than just, getting angry and, degrading them with your words. This approach to the conversation, it can be transformative, especially if you ask them to do the same. Tell me what it is that this does for you, what it means for you. how you feel about it, or ask them the same questions. Talk to me. Be open and willing to listen, because we don't know. You never know why a person consumes pornography, and we can't always assume that it's for reasons that we think. Right? It can be for multiple reasons. I mean, it's one of those things that people find themselves, watching, that they would never imagine themselves have watching, and people of all races and colors, ages. I mean, it doesn't matter, right? It is not biased to anyone. So don't take ownership of issues that are not yours. We can immediately look at our mate or our person and assume that it's something that we did or something that we're not doing that is causing our mate to want to, consume this. And we may have absolutely nothing to do with why they consume pornography, but we won't know that unless we begin asking questions. So don't take ownership of issues that are not yours. You didn't, pornography is an addiction just like any other. And you may not have caused that addiction, right? You may not have been the one to cause it. So therefore, you may not be the one that's going to be able to fix it. And so often people have to recognize that it's a problem for them, and they have to be willing to take action on their own to, find a way to resolve it or work on it and fix it. So a lot of times we need to put ourselves in the position to listen and try to understand the whys of an issue rather than taking claim of it, and or thinking about how we may have caused the issue or are, feeding the issue, making it worse. So this means that we have to learn how to listen deeply. And this is the Ellen talk. We have to learn how to ask questions rather than assuming that we already know the answers. You may not know. You don't know. I can guarantee you don't know why, the person that you're with or you yourself may even be consuming pornography. So rather than bringing your words of accusations to the conversation, bring your listening ears to the conversation. And you may find out some things that you would have never known had you not taken the time to ask. We may need to ask questions like, how did this come to be in your life? When it's the first time that you saw pornography? Who introduced you to it? Who exposed you to it? How long have you been watching it? What are your thoughts about it? Like, what is your understanding of it? How do you feel like before it happens, during the time that it's happening? How do you feel after you've watched it? You may want to ask questions like, have you had any direct experiences with it? All kinds of things. What are some of your triggers? Do you know what your triggers are that causes you to want to, indulge in such a thing? All these kinds of things. These kinds of questions may help you to learn some things that you didn't know about yourself or about your partner. And so rather than just assuming that there's something that we did or didn't do, we may come to realize that, there's a deeper issue here that needs to be addressed, or a deeper problem. So it's best to always get down to the root of the issue rather than just, focusing on the emotional part of it. And I get that emotional part of it can be very damaging, hurtful, disappointing, all of it, right? If it's, something that you all see and it's affecting your relationship, it can be very hurtful. So I definitely understand that. So this is when we want to get to that place where we have to try to knock down the barriers of the pornography. If we want to be able to talk about it and address it and work on it, right? If you know that this is an issue for you, you see it taking over your relationship, you see it taking over your marriage, you see it taking over yourself or your partner, and you decide, you know what, this is getting out of control. Like I said, it's an all-consuming spirit. So one of the reasons that pornography is a barrier is because we don't talk about it. We ignore it. We sweep it under the rug. We act like, it's not a problem, or we act like it's, their problem and not ours. We don't try to get down to the reasons of why it is something that has entered your life or entered your relationship. And those are the things that you need to be willing to talk about. So find out if your partner is willing to make a commitment with you in communicating about why it is they are, indulging in this activity. If they're willing to talk with you or keep you abreast on what their triggers are, help make you aware, bring you into it in a way that can help them and not just be judgmental of them. We have to be willing to develop some level of understanding. Now, I'm not saying acceptance, right? Because it still is not an acceptable activity to be partaken in. But I am saying that we need to develop some level of understanding. And understanding is not an excuse to continue, to continue the behavior. It's just gives us a different perception and a different outlook and a different way to approach it, versus when we don't understand and we're just angry and mad all the time and not wanting to talk about it or wanting to degrade our partner because of it. Okay. So understanding is just realizing that it is an issue and why it's an issue, and that maybe it's not something that's being done intentionally to hurt us. So, and that is what I mean by the understanding of it. When they're struggling, we need to know what it is about, when they're struggling, or if you're struggling, you need to be willing to talk about it and, help. What's enticing? What are you being enticed by, or what are they being enticed by? That's causing them to want to indulge in it. Make a commitment to how you will respond to those acts of confession. So maybe if you want your partner to talk about it, or if you need to talk about it, you need to develop some understanding or have some commitment. Okay, if I tell you this, then I don't need you to respond this way. Or if I tell you that I'm struggling, if I tell you that I'm being, enticed by whatever, then I need to know that you're not going to respond in this negative way. So develop that sort of understanding. Both partners can develop an understanding about how you can talk about it and how you're going to respond to it. If you would typically go off and be insensitive or make a negative or nasty comment about them, make a commitment not to do that. Get mad at the enemy and not at your partner. Like I said, pornography is a spirit, and just like any other addiction, we want to get mad at the person, but their bodies are sort of being taken over by this emotion. Their minds and their hearts are being taken over by this evil spirit, really. And so, get mad at the enemy. If you feel like you have to get mad at it, get mad at the enemy. We can be upset with our partner. We can be disappointed with our partners, but don't take it out on them fully, because anytime we are being enticed by something that we know is not good for us, it's the trick of the enemy, trying to bring us down, trying to, get into our minds and our headspace and our heart space and cause us to feel, certain kind of ways about ourselves or about our partners. So recognize that. Pornography is an issue that is, can be close to the heart, and therefore, it's easily capable of causing extreme pain in our relationships. So if it's something that that you cannot handle alone, if you know that you all are going to need some help, that you all are not going to be able to do this on your own, be willing to make a commitment to get some help. I've talked about therapy before, talked about therapy on this channel. You all can go back and watch that. I've talked about addictions before. And sometimes addictions can be something that we need help with because we don't know how to approach it. We don't know how to, work our way through it. And that is why we have professionals. For those of, us who are saved and are believers, we can call on the Lord. We know that the Lord is there for us, but he has also given us physical resources here on this earth to help us. Okay. It doesn't have to all just be done through prayer. Addiction is, pornography is an addiction just like any other addiction. It shows no biases. Like I said, you can be rich or poor, you can be famous or the everyday average Joe. You can be a pastor of a church, or you can be a pew member in the church. It doesn't matter. It's an addiction. Addictions are addictions, and they should be treated and understood as such. So that means that just like any other addiction, you may go through some relapses. There are few people out there in the world who can say, okay, I'm done with this and be through with it and never pick it up or never touch it again. But the reality is the majority of people who are addicted will have those phases of relapses. And if you know that that is, going to be the case, set yourself up with the support that you all are going to need. Keep people around you who will, help you all to be strong and get through those relapses, or so that you can get through them faster, right? Show you how to figure out what those triggers are. What's going on, how things came to be, or how you all can, help each other, how you can respond to each other, how you can, encourage and support each other in a way that's healthy. Therapy also will give you a safe space for each of you to express the things that you need to express. If you're angry, if you're hurt, if you're disappointed, if you're sad, if you're ready to walk away, whatever it is that you're feeling, therapy will give you the safe space to be able to do that. So good morning, God's chosen vessel, Gwen. How are you? Good to see you this morning. Welcome, welcome. So keep a network of good, positive people around you when it comes to this subject matter, because like I said, it is an addiction just like any other. So, and if you all are deciding that you want to stay together, that you want to work through this, or that it is a problem for you. So it can be very easily, taken care of and, worked through, and all of that. If you want to try to improve the situation or improve the issue in your relationships. All right. So that's about all I have for you all this morning. I'm on here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, although I've really been struggling with my Mondays. So forgive me for that. But we'll be back here on Friday, and we're going to be talking about the other aspect of intimacy, and that is sex. So like I said, sex is made to be beautiful and healthy. And, God designed it for our marriages. And so we'll be talking about sex on Friday. All right. So I'm going to say a prayer and then we'll get out of here. Unless you all have any questions for me or anything, just go ahead and pop it in the chat. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and say a prayer. Father, thank you, Lord, for this day. Thank you for loving us and taking care of us and providing for us each and every day without us even having to ask. Your grace and your mercy that you bestow upon us in spite of the things that we do, in spite of the things that we indulge in and we partake in that we know that are not pleasing of you. So, Father, give us the ability and the willpower and the strength and everything that we need to protect our ear gates and our eye gates, to recognize when we placed ourselves in situations that may not be the best or that will trigger us into things that we need not indulge in. Father, if pornography is an issue in someone's relationship, in someone's marriage, Father, just ask that you touch them and give them the strength and the will to be able to, at first, even be able to talk about it, to be able to address it, to be able to develop some level of understanding about it, and to be willing to work on it. Father, help us to seek you. Help us to not be afraid to seek out the help that we need here on this earth, to be willing to use the resources that are out there available to us, and to recognize that you give us all these things, Father, so that we can grow and be strong and healthy. Help us to keep a positive, healthy outlook on intimacy and sex and what it means and for the way that you designed it. Keep these marriages together and strengthen these relationships. Father, we love you. We thank you Thank you for giving me this platform to be able to talk about such issues, and just pray your will be done. These things I ask in your son Jesus' name. Amen. All right. So I hope that you all were able to, take something out of this conversation this morning. And like I said, I'll be back here on Friday talking about sex. And I have a tip coming out tomorrow. So please make sure that you don't miss that. All right. Take care. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and have a blessed day, and go be the light. All right. Bye.